Welcome to the Javier Mendez podcast. We are back this week and the sun is out, but the only thing shining right now is our attitude, I guess. Jav, you're working with DC, getting ready for his trilogy fight. How's that going? You're finally starting to work together at this point in time?
Yeah, well, he's been working out in his garage, and I met with him this Saturday at his garage at his house. And we come in on a couple of days here at the gym. So only time we can be open is during that time when he's training, and we have a few people for him. And there's a couple other guys that have fights that we come in and train with. But yeah, now the trilogy is going to be a barn burner again, and he'll be ready August 15th. Yeah.
Do you think that the COVID actually gave him more time to focus? I mean, there's less to do, more to do on your training. Do you think there's been any advantages in that? Like, I know it's not the full camp with the team and the camaraderie as much, but it changes circumstance.
It does actually, believe it or not, for him. In most cases, I would say it doesn't affect you, but in this case, for him, it gave him more time, only because the wrestling season is no longer around, so he's not devoted to the kids like he always is and spending time with the kids. So this is DC time. This is the actually first camp in a long time that it's about DC. It's not about the wrestler community in DC and then DC the fighter. This one's about DC the fighter.
And less fights to cover during this time, I guess, or less quick access. I don't know. It looked like they're rotating commentators. Not everybody's hitting every UFC event unless, I guess Joe Rogan has pay-per-views.
The rotation's been the same with him. When he comes close to a fight, they don't use him, they give him the time off for training. So no, that's been normal for him.
Well, that's good. So it must feel nice to have something going on. I mean, I can imagine just how insane anybody would go not having someone to coach or not having someone to train. It's been some tough times out there, man. We're all weathering this storm,
Wow, there's a lot of things happening in the world. There's just so much negativity and so much uncertainty. So the world is at an uncertain place right now, and there's a lot of things that are just not good. The police thing, the COVID has caused so many issues and so many levels that it's kind of hard to really pinpoint how many things are wrong at the present time. There's so many things that are wrong, and so little things are right, and we just got to keep plugging ahead, There's nothing else you can do. You can't sit and whine about what you've lost and what you could have, what you should have. You have to deal with what you have, and you move forward and do the best you can. I mean, there's tons of gyms that are either going to go out of business or are out of business or on the verge of going out of business, because they still haven't been able to open up. We're still not open up here. So, what are you gonna do? You gotta do what you can to stay afloat mentally, and then the rest hopefully will take care of itself.
It's interesting. We said this, at least I said this at the beginning when we started doing COVID level podcasts. Basically, like, if I'm wrong, I'm right. If I'm right, I'm wrong. Basically, wear the mask, be safe. Don't go out there and test your superhuman abilities against something that you know nothing about till it's on you, right?
Too many people get too hung up on it. I've actually seen people get upset at each other because someone's walking right behind somebody and they're like maybe 4 feet behind them. Person in front turns around, starts cussing at them. Keep your effing distance from me, blah, blah, blah. I mean, there's so many cases of that. So many people are in that keep your distance from me, this and that, and it's horrible. It's horrible that what it causes people to do, and unfortunately, who are you to tell that person they shouldn't be that way? If they say it's 6 feet and you're not doing the 6 feet thing, and someone is, and someone, they respect that, their privacy should be, not their privacy, but their rights should be, not violated. If it's supposed to be 6 feet, they want 6 feet. And that's what's happening. So, I personally seen people fighting over that, cussing each other out. And I'm like, wow.
It's like that person might have just been in the zone, something on their mind. I got to pay rent. They weren't even thinking, and they
No, it's all
know?
related to the COVID. They don't want to. That's not nothing to do with rent. There's something to do with, hey, I don't want to catch it. How do I know what you got? That's all it is. It's not
Yeah.
my rent. Not thinking. No, man. It's all related to COVID. It's nobody wants to catch it. I don't want to catch it. You don't want to catch it. Well, if you got some people that are more, just like apprehensive about everybody, and they just think everybody might have it, so they don't want to get it. So they're going to get upright, pissed off about it if you cover their space, and I don't know, man. It's crazy.
I'm with you on that. I mean, I've been keeping my distance. There's restaurants that open up near me, and everyone looks like they're having fun, but still, it's canaries in the coal mine. Those are the canaries, and that's the coal mine. And I'm watching them. I'm not really joining them. I'm just trying to keep myself healthy.
Like where we're at, we have restaurants open, and the thing is, when you go into the restaurant now, they're actually pretty safe, in my opinion. The way they do things, they wipe everything down, they keep everybody. They actually keep you 6 feet apart, the table, so you're not even close to them. So, their businesses, of course, have been hurt, but as far as how comfortable I feel in the restaurant, pretty comfortable.
Yeah,
I'm pretty comfortable because no one's breathing in my space, and then they're cleaning. They're cleaning. Right after someone finishes, they clean, and they separate you, so you're not close to anybody. So no, restaurants are fine. It's just they're not crowded, but they're fine as far as entering them. Not a problem at all.
Well, let's talk about a fight coming up this weekend. Dustin Poirier versus Dan Hooker. This is going to be a barn burner. And interesting side note is that Dustin actually beat Justin Gaethje. So that makes it interesting. And Khabib beat him, but they're different styles. They're different styles. They're totally different.
Yeah, but also let's talk about the fights that happened over the weekend. Everybody's talking about them, and we're talking about them. It's like, my God, the semi-main event was an unbelievable fight, man. It's one for the decades. It's a great fight. It delivered. The lineup wasn't memorable whatsoever, but the fights delivered, man. They did deliver. That semi-main event was something else. And did you see the fight where the one guy, the coach told him, "No, you can't quit. Don't quit. Don't quit." And the guy says,
"Oh,
yeah,
yeah." Drysdale was telling his fighter not to,
give up himself. Did you see the fight? Was the guy really getting beat?
The guy was tanking out. I mean, this was his first fight, not a lot of prep, just thrown into the cage, and he's like, I need to, throw in the towel.
Was he getting beat before he did that? Was he really getting beat?
He was starting to get beat. He was facing enough opposition where you didn't see the twinkle of a comeback in his eye, And
right. So then Drysdale did the right thing by saying you have it in you, but probably the fact of where more experienced coaches would have probably said a couple times, "No, you have it in you." He says no, because I saw the video of him saying, "I'm done.
That was Roscoff. Yeah.
If we would have said, if I'd have said, "No, you got more in you. Come on, let's go." If he would have said it to me again, "No, I'm done," that'd have been it. Finished. There were no more questions. 2 times I would have tried to get into the mind of Roscoff, and after that, if it didn't work, I would have called the fight off, because when a fighter is like that, he mentally doesn't want to fight, and you make him fight, then he really gets hurt. Man, that'll be on your conscience beyond belief. You have to want to fight. If you don't want to fight, if you can't convince him within a little bit of trying, then you should let him.
It's hard to push, because you can only be like push, let's go, like a drill instructor. Yeah. And you can't go, come on, can you get in there? It won't work. So he's trying to get him out of his head.
It depends on him. It's like, you can be nice about it, you can be mean about it, but the fighter responds or doesn't respond. If he wants to do it, the fact is, come on, you can do it. He might respond to that, or he may not respond to that. Or you can yell at him, and he might respond to that or not respond to that. What I'm saying is, you shouldn't try too hard to try to get him to do it. You should just mention it, cover that angle, then move on. And Drysdale didn't move on. He stayed on it until you could hear the commission kind of hurt him, and he's, I'm done. And it's just a rookie mistake. I don't think anybody really was intending bad on anything. It's a mistake we all do. I've done mistakes big time. We're all guilty.
as a coach, you're sitting there going, listen, I've seen you do better in practice. You got this in you. I can see you doing this. And he's like, I don't see it. I see no. I see the stop sign, you know, and that was it. Have you had anybody do that to you in the history, and not to name names, but any of your fighters go, I want out of this fight because that's way
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
Really?
I wasn't in the corner, but one of our fighters did it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Crazy Bob made him go in there, and he wanted out. He wanted out. Crazy Bob made him go in there, and he just went and got his ass kicked. You
Yeah.
know, so it's kind of one of those deals where you might as well just let him out. You know, but this is the problem. This is the problem. When you get let out, the organization is going to look at that and go, okay, this guy's a quitter.
It's your
I don't know.
career.
I'm not so sure I want this guy, or maybe I'll give this guy another shot. I don't know. I didn't see the fight. I just know that as a promotion, they don't really want you doing that. So you may get away with it one time, but if you do it again, I guarantee you, no one promotion is going to take you. Not at a high level. They're not going to. So
They'll push you to the back of the roster. Like, you'll be here if we run out of guys. Maybe that'll happen.
So there's a danger. So So Robert Drysdale did the right thing. He just made a little too long on the subject, but he did the right thing.
Yeah,
he did the right thing by trying to get his fighter to come in there. He did the right thing. But again, where it gets a little over is when you kept asking him, and
right.
he's negative. You should have just let it go. But that's something I guarantee you he won't do again. If it happens again, he'll just go. He'll ask him a few times, maybe 3 times. After that, he'll move on. He'll go, okay, cancel the fight.
Yeah, that's well, I mean, the early UFCs, we saw people throw in the towel because there wasn't fully regulation yet. So these guys are like, I'm throwing that towel in. You know, Billy's getting his head kicked in the early days. It's changed. So you're talking about the Josh Emmett fight with Shane Burrows. That was the fight of the night to watch right there, where Josh Emmett was just throwing hammers. Like, he just kept bringing it. And the other guy was game. He just kept eating it, man. It kind of sort of reminiscent in a different twist, like Gaethje versus Tony, in one of those kind of fights, except I think Tony got in more trouble. That was the fight that you were referencing.
It wasn't to me like that, only because the damage was not done by Burrows. Burrows didn't do hardly much damage, and Tony didn't do any damage whatsoever, other than that one uppercut where he dropped Gaethje. So I didn't look at it like that. I looked at that as a different type of fight. But man, these guys were throwing bombs, and no, this was a different fight, man. This was, Gaethje, Tony was a good fight, but it wasn't a great fight. This was one of the best fights of the year, and that one isn't going to be considered one of the best fights of the year. No way. This one definitely best fight of the year. I'd say right now it's the lead candidate for best fight of the year.
I think that we're starting to see people that didn't have bigger names starting to shine in this time. We're starting, well, we got nothing else to watch, which makes us focus down on it a little bit more and realize, wow, there is some new undiscovered talent. That's what I'm enjoying about it. First, I was complaining like the other week, wow, there's no fans, but now I'm seeing fights like this one. That was amazing, and I wonder what surprises are in hold for this upcoming fights this weekend. What's going to surprise me this time, which I will be recapping under your suggestion right after. Right after the fights, kind of give our breakdown. So the Poirier Hooker, and there's Mike Perry and Mickey Gall, and these other 2 gentlemen, I don't know, maybe they're just another secret amazing fight. Kyle Daukaus versus Brendan Allen, and then John Vellante and Maurice Green in the top of the card. Dustin Poirier and Dan Hooker, I think that makes the whole card worth a watch. I always like watching Dustin fight, and Dan Hooker really brought it the last time. But how do you feel? Any anticipation on this fight? Do you think? I think Dustin bounces back. He doesn't just keep going down just because he lost to Khabib last time. I think he's a grinder.
I favor Dustin on this one. We'll see what happens. And I don't favor him by much, but I do favor him. 2 options to Hooker's 1 option. Hooker, for me, is the better kickboxer, so he's got to keep it at a distance. The inside, the better boxer is Dustin. On the clinch, probably Hooker's the better on the clincher, but on the ground, I'd have to say it's Dustin. So overall, world-class opponents, Dustin. Before Dustin met Khabib, remember, he was on a great run himself where he beat some badasses, So And Hooker's on a streak right now, so we'll see what happens. But it's definitely a good fight for the fans to want to see, and for the rankings, it stirs up the rankings. Because if Dustin doesn't win and Hooker wins, there's another contender. If Dustin wins, then he still shows that he's still in the mix. So, good fight, good fight, good fight.
You'll be tuning in for that one for sure. You know, there's people that are just coming in out of like, you know, they've been there, but it's a deep roster, 500 fighters, and you're like, I haven't seen this guy enough, or I only watch the pay-per-views. And now more people are probably watching. More the casual fans have become more solid, you know, watchers of the UFC. There's not too much to compete against it. So, you know, as far as the rest of the card, Mickey Gall, he's the guy that beat CM Punk, and he's going up against Mike Perry, who's been on a 2-fight losing streak. Mike Perry looked like he had some promise there, and you know, maybe this is like a fight for your contract kind of fight, you know, where both these guys are sitting.
Who knows? I mean, Mike Perry's a great personality. He's good for the UFC. You know, Mickey Gall is made himself known by what he's done. You know, with the CM Punk thing, and then going out and proving he's no fluke. You know, so no, it's an interesting fight. You know, and definitely worth watching. Mike Perry's always worth watching.
Oh, for sure. So I'm ready to jump into some fan questions. Let's see what we got here. I asked for suggestions, which we'll discuss anything that's worthwhile later. Hey, Coach, consider Usman and Burns part of the same team. What would you do if a champion fighter of AKA were to face each other? How would you change the scenario? Great question by Sadat Hassan.
Well, what I would do is the champion has the priority here. He decides who's going to train with him, and of course, the coaches decide if they want to train with him. And then the one that's got the challenger spot, he gets the secondary spot. So we'd work it out. You know, these guys are not training in the same camp. From what I hear, when Usman's going to Colorado, I believe, and train with another team, and Henry Hooft, you know, because he's torn between both of them. You know, he's not training either one of them, which, you know, you got to respect that he feels for both of them. And my scenario, I've always told myself, and I tell the guys that, look, if I've been working with so-and-so before you, and he's the champ, and then you're going to fight him, but I've been working him before you, I'm going to stay with him. You know, I hope you understand that. And so there's different ways of doing it. Like I would be with Usman, because if I was training him longer, I would be with him. I would train him. I would give him, because that's the way I feel. The way we do it here is first is first, second is second. So if you're first in line, you're always going to get first in line. And the other one, you know, he wants to be first in line. Well, you're not going to get the advantages of the guy that was here first.
So have you ever had anybody from your gym go against somebody in your gym while they were training concurrently at the same time?
No, never had it. I'm glad. It's something that tears the gym apart. I'm glad, man. Hey, I almost caused a problem with that with Ariel Helwani. Ariel Helwani was talking to me about Herschel Walker a long time ago, about 2008 or 9. And he was talking about Herschel. Everything was leading to Herschel. Then all of a sudden, he hits me with that. What do I think about teammates fighting each other? And I'm like, huh? I go, and I didn't know what he was talking about, you know. And I go, well, I guess if one is the champion and one is other mandatory challenger has been offered the fight, I guess, I guess I'd be okay with it, because one is the champion, one is the contender.
Right.
So he goes, okay, and blah, blah, blah. And then he goes, well, what do you think about, you know, your two guys? And I'm like, oh, that's what he was leading to. So I had 3 welterweights, and they were all top dogs at that time. And the UFC, I didn't know, was trying to get these guys to fight. And I didn't know anything about that, because no one tells me that the UFC is trying to get these guys to fight. So that question was posed, and all of a sudden it got one of the fighters really upset at me, because why the hell did I say that? Now Dana's going to try to get us to fight. And I said, well, I stuck to my guns. I said, hey, look, listen, none of you guys are champions. You know, so as far as I'm concerned, I said the right thing. And if one of you does become a champion, then the other one would have to get the title shot, okay, in order for it to happen. Because that's the only way that I will allow you guys to fight. Because if you both want to fight without a title, then you both get kicked out. Because I'm not going to have that. It has to be for something. If you're going to destroy the team, it better be worth something, because it just fight each other is not good enough. So to me, it was not it was not something that was going to happen here because we weren't close to that. The closest we ever came to that was DC and Kane, and DC dropped weight rather than face Kane, and it wasn't for no other reason other than DC
Keep
just
the
didn't.
family.
Yes,
Keep the family together.
That's what DC did. That's the only reason why DC did it. DC sacrificed himself to keep the family together.
That was, yeah, that's historic and beautiful. That's a true point about AKA keeping the team together. Let's see. Well, we asked one of your questions, so I'm going to the next question, Saeed. Sashi Dakar, how is Khabib preparing for his next fight? Any plans for him coming to the U.S.? Also, when are Islam and Zuba fighting next? Thank you. From Sashi Dahankar.
I don't know where Zuba or Islam are fighting. I'm assuming they'll probably fight on Khabib's card, but I don't know. I know Umar and Thier, another Khabib's teammates, will be fighting on July 25th in Abu Dhabi. If Khabib gets to come train here, he will, but it all depends on his father. His father is past the COVID stage, but he's still in critical condition because of the heart surgery, and making a rehab from things of that nature is really tough. So it's touch and go. Khabib is there with his father, gets to visit his father 30 minutes a day. So he gets in there and just hold his father's hand for the 30 minutes and talks to him. And he's responsive. He opens his eyes, but, it's still very slow process. And we'll see what happens. But, hopefully God grants his father more time with us because it's touch and go. So as far as Khabib fighting, I don't know. And the reason why I don't know is because, we don't know the status of his father, whether his father's in the clear. If his father's not in the clear, and Khabib's close to his father like he is, he's not going to want to take on a fight. He is training to fight, so if his father's free and clear, I guarantee you within a month he could be fighting because he's in shape, but his father's not free and clear, and he has no offer at the present time. So the UFC has not offered a fight as of yet. Mm-hmm. I'm sure it's coming. It's coming. So we'll see what happens when that time comes, of whether he has enough time to come to California or if the restriction ban is still in effect and he can't come. I know in Abu Dhabi, I was told that July 7th, the restriction ban is going to be lifted from Russia to there. So, and maybe it means the whole world can come to Abu Dhabi. I don't know, but I know Russia will be able to go. So I know Khabib is going to be there cornering here and Umar, and he'll be in Abu Dhabi training.
Yeah, that's looking forward to. Umar's going to be fighting. That's coming up soon, right? So that's another exciting fight. Let's see, Coach, can you tell Khabib, this was from Gamer2, to call out Tony Ferguson after fighting Gaethje? A lot of people saying he's scared of him, and that would prove them all wrong.
Khabib is not going to call anybody out. Tony needs to prove that he's better than what he was. He needs to get on the trail. Khabib doesn't need to fight him for nothing. There was a point there where he had to fight him, but now that he got beat by Gaethje, he has to fight Gaethje.
Yeah,
that's the way it works, guys. You lose your spot. Well, you're no longer the guy. If Khabib lost his title, well, guess what? A lot of these guys that want to fight him don't want to fight him. They want to fight the champion.
They say that's no longer a discourse.
So basically, Tony lost his spot.
Yeah.
So Khabib may want to fight him out of just personal reasons and the fact that we're supposed to fight 5 times, but he's no longer in line. He has to get back in line, and Tony knows it. And I don't think he has to do much, just probably one fight. Tony has to win one fight, and then a good fight, then he's back in. But he has to do that.
So let's see. Did I answer any questions? Okay. Last question. Can you please get DC on Joe Rogan? AK has a history worth sharing.
DC and Joe Rogan, I don't know. It's up to Joe Rogan, whatever Joe Rogan wants. I mean, Joe Rogan's never called me, so I don't know.
That would be a monster show because of DC.
Well, we'll see what's up. But Joe Rogan and I never discussed anything about anything. So
right. We have our own lane over here. How is father? Any updates, improvements? I think you covered that. That's from S. Khabib. You just went over that. Let's go to
slight improvement. Nothing major, but the COVID's gone, so that's major.
That's a good thing. For Monader, Coach Javier, can a 20-year-old regular person who has some martial arts experience from childhood can train for 5 years and AKA make the UFC? Great question, actually.
Very difficult to do, but not impossible.
Right? Because you've had. I mean, to go back on that question, you've had guys that were gifted athletes or historic, stud wrestlers coming out of college, or
Yeah, but remember, he said very limited. He didn't say
right.
I'm a champion wrestler or this now, 10 years of wrestling. No, what he's talking about is very hard. Very hard. 5 years and being in the UFC. I mean, not 5 years and getting a UFC fight, MMA fight. Yeah, no problem.
Right.
But being in the UFC, that's a whole different level, man. And that means that you're one of the best in 5 years with no MMA training. That's kind of hard.
Statistics, how many in the world, right? Very minimal. There's only one champion. So, I mean, you get people that you would say were pure grit and go to, like your Bellator, John Fitch. John Fitch, you said he was just not coming in natural like some of these guys, and he gutted it out. And that's an exception.
Grinded it out. He just
grinded.
He just didn't accept no. He didn't care. John Fitch was, hey man, there was what time when John Fitch was just working out with a one-legged fighter. Wow. We had the gym for him, one-legged fighter, and he was in there grinding away with him. John Fitch became a world champion with World Series of Fighting, and he became a world champion because he never gave up on himself. And from what I was told, he probably should have got the nod in the Bellator too. Mm-hmm. So I didn't see the fight, but I was told that he should have won that one. But John Fitch is, if you want to be a fighter, you want to be something that people say you can't be, look at John Fitch and look what he's done, and admire that man for all the accomplishments that he has produced. And because he's his own man, he doesn't let nobody tell him what he can or can't do. He'll go out and do it. He'll get it done. And if he does it, he'll try, and that's the most important thing is that I tried. I failed, but I tried. And you can't say nothing about that. John Fitch is a man's man.
That's a total mindset. I mean, people are asking, how do I do that? If you focus on somebody extremely athletically gifted, like a Herschel Walker, but imagine he came in younger, well, what are your odds if you don't have that same physicality and the same ability and the same athleticism? Then you get to focus on somebody who has the mindset. And that's what I was trying to get to. Let's see. John Mortensen is back. What's up, John? Thoughts on Dillon Dannis calling out Jorge Masvidal?
All publicity.
Yeah?
Yeah, publicity. You don't got enough experience to deal with George Masvidal. Don't give a F what he says or what he thinks. Sorry.
Two fights in Bellator.
You'll get schooled really bad. George Masvidal will make you look like a fool. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's just not enough experience for George Masvidal. Not enough experience. Okay. I mean, that's to discredit someone like George. And Dillon has been fighting individuals to help him grow. He needs to grow more. I'm sure there'll be a point where I'd be talking really big about him, how great he is. But right now, he needs to grow more, and he knows how to create interest. By saying what he says, and I like what he does because it creates interest. He creates people to want to pay attention to him. So, but yeah, George Masvidal just a little too, and also it's not realistic.
It doesn't hurt to be Conor's former grappling partner and riding off that, and then having a couple of wins, but that doesn't boost you to the atmosphere.
You're also calling out a guy in another league, okay?
Right.
So how safe is that?
Yeah.
How safe is that? Call out Douglas Lima.
Yeah. Ooh.
Douglas Lima. Go ahead. Say, I'm ready for Lima. All right. Well, Douglas Lima. Okay. Well, now you're talking about the same league. Go ahead. Call him out.
Douglas Lima is a beast, man. He would do great in UFC.
What I'm saying is, you're talking about non-real versus real. Douglas Lima, that's a possibility. That's a real possibility. Okay.
Right.
George Masvidal, unless
empty threats, contractual impossibility, never going to happen. Right.
So, which one's safe? Which one's not?
Right. Yeah. Well, I think they're both equally devastating, to be honest with you.
And the bottom line is, I mean, the Dillon he's a talent, man. He's freaking good. So, you can't underestimate him, but he's not the favorite, put it that way.
That's true. Well put, Hav. How do you see, from SW, how do you see Umar doing in his debut in July?
I see Umar doing great. He's unbeaten, been unbeaten for quite a long time, probably a decade. He hasn't lost, he's going to do well. He's going to do really well. Expect kickboxing, striking game. He's got really good ground game and everything too, but he likes to strike. That's what his main thing is, striking.
Yeah, I mean, you want to see his ground game, go watch him grappling DC on our channel. We get that, video out there. It's amazing. They were just having fun, but Umar did pretty well for considering the size difference. Mohammed Metri, hi, Coach. Will you be able to prepare Umar for his UFC debut or the pandemic? Will that hinder your advice to him? So, or you have any involvement, I guess?
No involvement, 2 reasons. Pandemic and DC fight. I'm here with DC, getting him ready for his August 15th show.
Mm-hmm.
Umar is in Russia, cannot come here because of the pandemic. Otherwise, Umar would be here.
And people don't know how you normally do it. You usually have Khabib and you have Umar and Islam fighting on the same card. So you get to...
Yeah, or I'll have Umar and Khabib's not here because they're ready for a fight. But the pandemic created separation between us. It's not we, the fighters, created separation. The pandemic did. It caused this, to switch on us. So we have no control over that till the countries are opening up the borders where everybody can come. We'll be fine. Till then, we have to do what we can do. So no, I will not be there with Umar, or Tahir. It's going to be Khabib, probably Islam, and then probably a few of the other young guys will probably be in the corner. Probably some of the coaches.
Yeah. Oh, they're solid, man. They're going to be good.
Yeah, those guys are great. They don't. I'm more of a moral support than anything.
Oh, this is a good one. Mohammed Syed, Coach, what do you think about doing a tough series with AKA versus SBG, Conor versus Khabib?
Could be fun.
That'd be a great TV show. That would hit the ratings. Do that.
Definitely will. But
that's a movie, a blockbuster, guaranteed. Okay. In the last podcast, Coach said traveling for Khabib's camp would mean 14 days quarantine wherever Khabib or Coach would travel. But if you get tested upon landing and find that you're negative, would there be no real quarantine needed for 14 days? Great question for Muaz Masood.
Well, from what I was told, you still would be quarantined, but things have changed. So you wouldn't be in that scenario. I guess they're going to be more lax as of July 7th. Things are going to change some. So I don't know to what degree things will change. So things have changed. And then things revert back because the COVID has got its mind of its own.
This is crazy. Guess the God. Hi, Coach Javi. How do you feel potentially not cornering Nurmagomedov in his next bout with Gaethje during these temporary circumstances? Can they hold an iPad in between rounds so you're coaching him there, like holding it up?
I think that the fact that if I can't be in his corner or his father can't be in his corner, I don't think he'll feel comfortable fighting, to be honest with you. I think he'll do it, but he won't feel comfortable. So I don't foresee that happening. I either see myself or his father being in his corner. Because, number one, if I can't be in his corner for his fight, then that means nobody from the U.S. can be in the corner either. So the U.S. can't go. So wherever the U.S. bans, so the UFC wouldn't be able to go there. So I'm imagining wherever he fights, I can go.
Okay, what is your favorite food, Coach Jav?
I don't really have a favorite food, but carbs would have to be number one, and that's not good for your weight. And I'm on keto at the present time, and that's really
looking
good for
good. You're looking leaner. I can tell on the camera.
Keto helps big time. Monitor your weight, drop your weight. So yeah, I'm on keto. I've been on keto for 9 weeks.
This is interesting, Waz Masood. From Khabib's prior opponents, which one does Gaethje resemble the most? Like, which one does he have a similarity to, I guess?
Neither one of them, really. He's so different. I mean, he's like, Barbosa would be the most dangerous striker out of all the guys, I think, in my opinion, because he was fast, he was quick. But Gaethje's a blood and guts type guy that's in your face, but leg kicks really well. No, they're different, man. Barbosa and him might be the closest to each other, but they're still different.
Without the punches.
They're still different.
Yeah.
They're still different. They're still different.
Okay. And do you watch DC and Helwani videos? That's from John.
I watch little clips on their Instagram. And that's what I don't even watch our own podcast. I don't watch anybody's podcast. I watch little clips on everybody. You know, I watch clips wherever an Instagram shows on something. I watch it. The only one I've ever watched complete was Mike Swick, Mike Quick Swick podcast when he did
Famous guy.
he interviewed what's his face, the boxer Mickey Rourke.
Mickey Rourke.
I watched the whole thing. That one was entertaining. I liked it. So that's the only one I've ever watched. I never watched ours. I never even spent 5 minutes of ours. Just
good.
Whatever.
I don't really rewatch them unless I have to edit them. Then I have to timestamp everything. So I have to rewatch.
You have to edit. I don't have to do anything.
Yeah,
I don't watch it. So I don't really know.
This is all raw truth from you,
If we're coming across like idiots or what, I have no idea. But if we are coming across as idiots, well, it's as real.
Mention that in the comments, right?
We're idiots. What can you say? You know, that's what it is. That's what it is.
Hey, so let's see. How do you think UFC judging can be improved if that's necessary from Anthony Jones?
Like always, it's go to the athletic commissions and petition for fighters to be the judges, not people that have never fought in their life. You know, make it, because the only ones that seem to agree almost on everything is fighters. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, that ain't gonna happen. So, but that would be what I would say the best way is get fighters to be judges instead of people from walk of life that never even know what jiu-jitsu is can go out there and become a judge if they go through the right procedures to the state athletic commissions. So get fighters to do it.
Now, what about like punch stats or analytics, like people putting sensors in gloves? I know they were doing that.
That's all cool and dandy, but that don't mean shit.
No.
You know, what means something is a judge that's a competent judge that knows who's ahead, who's not ahead. And normally I find that my opinion with fighters rarely ever is much different at all. It's only when it comes to the casual fan or somebody else that, you know, that things get very different. But when it comes to fighters and coaches, we all seem to think the same. We all seem to think who won or who didn't win. And there is some razor close fights that we differ, but for the vast majority of the fights, fighters generally agree.
Have you been a judge before, Hav?
Khabib, I have no idea. Probably.
No. Have you ever been a judge for fighting for any like other promotions or anything in the early days?
No, I've never been a judge.
Okay, let's see. We're getting towards the end here. I know there's a lot of questions, guys, but like I said, the first 20 or so is what we grab. And it's just a random thing. It's like even random for us. Hey, Coach, shout out from South Korea. I have a question regarding when Usman Nurmagomedov is going to be signed with the UFC, and how do you see Umar's fight going? Thank you.
I see Umar's fight going great in his favor. Usman, I don't know. He's not quite ready just yet. Maybe 3 or 4 more fights or maybe less. But, man, I'm calling him the finisher because he finishes, man. That guy, he's exciting. He is exciting. I like watching him fight.
Wow. Well, we got upcoming fights. I'm going to be hitting you guys up right after the fight, post-fight breakdown. Might have Tony on board. Talk to Tony. So we will see Tony from Las Vegas back. He's been out for a while, but that'll be good. Anyways, it's been a great podcast with you, Hav. When I cut the questions at that, you get some fighters to train and things to take care of. So you have a great day.